Good afternoon, everybody, or evening, or morning, or depending on what part of the world that you're from. This is King Manly Man, or formerly known as King Manly Man, now known as Elder Vandermoor, or I forget some of the other nicknames I'm called. This is my Burmese python, by the way. You know, when I do a video, I can't just do a normal, everyday video. I gotta have a little bit of spice to it, I guess you could call it. Though, even though I've had him for 8 years, I've never really come up with a name for him yet. So if anybody has any suggestions, I'm all ears. Now, we've come to an accord that he's going to behave himself during this video. And above all else, he's not going to crap on me. Isn't that right? Yeah, right. I don't like to look in his eye. Anyways, on to the questions. First question is from KK92. What's the one thing that you want to get rid of in your life? And what's one thing that you want in your life? Very good questions, by the way. I would probably say about the only thing that I would like to get rid of in my life would be this blasted Achilles tendonitis that I got with my feet. And that's probably about it, because let me tell you something. As a long-distance runner, any aches and pains that you've got in your feet or anywhere in your body can be just a bit of a pain in the tuchus. You know, just a little bit. So if I could get rid of that, I would be thrilled to death. But other than that, I don't think there's really anything that's outstanding in my life that I would like to get rid of, that I can think of. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of minor things, but obviously, if I can't think of them at the moment, they're pretty minor. As to what I'd like to have in my life, I would probably say the biggest thing that I would like the most is my independence. You know, basically, you know, I don't know how it is in your part of the world, or you know, I have bits and pieces of it, but I know the whole world as a whole is in rough shape right now, you know, economically and all that stuff. But here in the States, things are not so hot, so a lot of people have been forced to house pool, so to speak. I don't know if you ever heard the term carpool, where you know you get multiple people in the car just to save some gas over time or whatever. But in a sense, here we're having to house pool, where you know, you have to have a couple people living in the home to kind of help cover the bills. In my case, I've got my dad living with me. This isn't actually my house. I do actually own this house, but you know, he lives with me, so we can kind of help one another out. But me being the type of guy that's very independent, likes his peace and quiet, likes his privacy. When you've got somebody living with you, that can be a little bit of a challenge. You know, you never know if, when you're doing something here, if you're having a conversation with somebody or whatever, if you got a hot ear pressed up against the door, you know, like they see like in the old movies where somebody's got the glass up against the door like this, listening to what's going on there, you know. There's been a couple times I've been tempted to just, when I get that feeling he'd be listening out there, just go up to my door and just pound it a couple times, but he usually keeps to himself pretty good. But that would be, I would say, the biggest thing that I would want in my life is my independence, you know, just to have my own place, my own space, do things the way I want, not have to hear any feedback on it. That's pretty much it. You know, and I would say at least at this point in my life, you know, maybe once I eventually get that, there'll be something else I'll be sure that I want, but for now, that's probably my biggest thing. So, alright, next question. Let me see, I gotta pull it up in the list here. Next one's from Staragon, and I'm gonna have some fun answering these. What do you think of me as a whole? How would you describe me? Well, there's a third part to that question, but we'll start out with those two. Let me think. Well, I would probably say to best describe you, mental. Absolutely mental. I would say definitely in need of immediate professional assistance. Yeah, as soon as possible. As soon as possible. No, really? Well, no, but really, seriously, you're a really good friend. I think you're an excellent writer. You write excellent poems. You've been a really good friend with me almost since day one. We have a lot of fun cracking jokes one another. So you're a lot of fun. Really, really good friend. And so that's what I really think of you. Now, the last part of that question, would you like to, and then it gives me the big eyes with the bouncing eyebrows. Well, let me answer that. Allow me to answer that question with a question. What if I told you about that glue? Now, I've told you 100 times over, you got to stop with that glue, because one of these times, He doesn't do it, by the way. This is just a running joke that we have. But one of these times, mark my words, you're going to be sitting here like this. Just kind of minding your own business, you know, doing it as whatever that you do. And you're going to suddenly, you're going to be sitting there and you're going to notice your head getting lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter. And then you'll be like, you know, then you'll feel like a little moisture in your ear here. And you'll be like, what the heck's going on here? What's going on? Then you'll be like, you'll be sitting up and be like, whoa, whoa, my head's already, and you'll be looking down. Excuse me, buddy, am I moving out of my way a little bit on this side? There we go. Excuse me, sorry about that. You'll be looking down on the floor and you'll be like, is that my brain? Oh, dang it is my brain. Dang it, I should have listened to him, but guess it's too late now. Well, so not only will you have a mess to clean up, but now you're going to be in some serious trouble there because you're going to be, the only thing that you're going to have left up there is your primitive brain, and that could be a dangerous thing. So, no, not really, but anyways. So, I hope that, so basically, keep dreaming, keep dreaming. Alrighty, next question from Rubino. Is the red dragon in my journal, somebody, let me pull it up here so I can get the exact question. Where is it? There it is. Does the red dragon on your journal represent someone real you like? And just how much you like her? And again with the small, and again with the eyes, with the bouncing eyebrows, except these eyes are small. Well, I'd say sadly no. It does not, she does not represent someone that I like in real life. And, but she does represent some of the qualities in somebody that I would like to, you know, if I eventually do meet somebody, that I would like to have. I mean, Zalora, most of you know her as being vicious and a real vicious murderess, but really deep inside, and if you looked at some of my most recent pics, she actually has a very, very kind heart, and pretty much all she ever really wanted was to be appreciated and loved for how she is. And pretty much when she finally met Bromilir, thanks to Ziggs, by the way, indirectly. When she met Bromilir, Bromilir saw through all of the surface, I guess you could say, the crust. You know, she came across as being very violent, vicious, but yet he was able to look deep inside and see that there was maybe something a little bit more to her. And so he tried to explore that a little bit more, almost got himself killed a few times, but then eventually when she saw that he meant business, you know, she decided to maybe just give it one more shot, because earlier in her life, I mean, she's very, very old, being that she's a vampiress. You know, she's about 3,000 years old, but a long, long time ago, many centuries ago, a very, very bad thing happened to her in her life. I'm not going to say too much spoilers, but just something, probably one of the most despicable things that could ever happen to a female. I'm sure you could probably figure out what that is. And one of the characters that's actually in my gallery is the one responsible for it. You could probably guess who it is. It's not Victor, by the way. So as a result of that, she just, you know, she felt obviously very violated, and basically just anger, just sheer rage and anger, and pretty much wanted to keep anybody who ever came close to her territory away. She didn't want anyone to have anything to do with anybody, and if anybody ever did trespass, they were gone. So basically, long and the short of it, no, she does not represent somebody directly, but she does definitely represent some of the qualities, not all of them, but some of the qualities that I would like if I ever do happen to meet somebody, if that ever happens. You never know. So time will tell. Good question, by the way. And the last question from one of my best and most trusted friends here on the site is from Xanador. And her question is, what's my biggest dream? Excellent question, by the way. And I would say, okay, buddy, you're starting to encroach on my territory. Hang on just a second. Cutting off the blood circulation in my brain. Okay. My biggest dream, I would say, is twofold. That's a twofold answer. And you may seem it a little bit strange, but I've always been a very imaginative person because, you know, honestly, life here, you know, on Earth and all that kind of stuff, to me, it's kind of boring compared to the world of imagination. But I would honestly say my biggest dream here would be to have my own place, have my own, my ideal would be like a nice old stone house somewhere deep in the country, you know, relatively close to town, but somewhere deep in the country, where it's just basically, you know, with lots of property, lots of land, lots of property. That would be inspirational for me, because I can do amazing things when I'm inspired the right way, and I would like to be able to write all different kinds of stories. Like right now, I'm actually working on a story, as some of you know, and I really am pushing for that to really be something, not just something that I post here on the site, but I'm actually looking to publish it, and I think it actually has the potential to be as big as Aragon or Shrek or something like that, because, you know, it's got a little bit of everything. It's not just a love, well, I'm not too many spoilers here, I can't say too much. He's spoiling it, so it's not just based on one thing, it's based on a lot of things. But anyways, I hope that that story is a success, that I can, you know, maybe not, you know, get some financial gain enough to where I can get to, you know, like I said, a house like that, where I could inspire myself to make more stories like that. That's what I really want to do. I want to be able to be in an environment where I can just let my mind go free and write stories and just, you know, really enjoy life. Obviously, you can see I repair clocks and everything like that. I'd like to be able to do that too. So basically, it's just to live comfortably, do the things that I love to do, enjoy my life to the fullest. That's my biggest dream that would be here on Earth. It's just overall just happiness, enjoy my life, enjoy what I do, and to get paid for it. That's always a bonus. Because my father's always told me this. Him and I don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, but him and I, he's always saying, you gotta work, you gotta do that stuff to make kind of money and all that stuff, and you may not like what you gotta do, and all that kind of stuff. You have to do jobs that you really don't like to do just to get those. Well, you know what? When you're first getting out there, maybe that might be true, but it doesn't have to be your entire life. And that's what I want for myself. I don't want to be my entire life to be doing something that I don't want to do or that I don't find enjoyment doing. I want to be able to enjoy with a passion what I do, get paid for it, and you know, because then once you do that, you never work a day in your life. And I would say the other part of my dream is, and this is a little bit more of an imaginary thing, I guess you could say, but you know, anything can happen. You never know what happens. But anyway, when you know life is done here, and you move on to the next life, I would actually, it would really be cool if my next life could be kind of like in the stories that I make. You know, like for instance this story that I'm making now. If my next life could be as living as one of those characters in that story, preferably Bromelier or Elder Vandermoor, you know, and actually have that be my next existence in a world in the sense that I create, that would be awesome. You know, but like I said, that's decades away, you know, 60, 70, well, yeah, it could be 60 or 70 years away. That would be about 100 or something like that. So I'm a long way away from that, but that would be the second goal of my dream, I guess you could say, is to be able to live in the worlds that I create and just have the option for that, you know, to have it be for my eternity. That would actually kind of like be my heaven in a sense. So I think that's probably about my biggest dreams. That's about, you know, like I said, this is what I say now, and I tend to be the type of person that doesn't change very much. So I would probably say that'll be my dream pretty much for the rest of my life, as far as I know, unless something drastic changes or anything like that. But even still, I've always been the type of person to steer the course, and I intend to keep steering it that direction. So I believe that's about it. I was going to wait for 5 questions, but I figured since I had my house to myself, I would take the opportunity to do this video now so I could be myself and not have to be quiet and be careful what I'm saying and not have to be worrying about an ear being pressed up against my door or questions afterwards or anything like that. So, but that's about it. And my buddy here seemed to pretty much behave himself for the most part. Yeah, I'm actually surprised because he's usually more active than this. So. And it's not because he's cold. He's actually quite warm. The room that I actually keep him in next door is about 95 degrees in there right now with the sun beating in there. So that's about it. And, you know, if anybody else has any more questions, feel free to ask. I'd be more than happy to do another video after I've gotten so many questions. And I think that's about all I've got to say for now. I hope you didn't mind all the ticking in the room and everything like that. But as you can see, I repair clocks. This is kind of what I do. And yes, I do sleep in this room. And I have no trouble sleeping with all this I don't consider it noise. I would say white noise, I guess you could call it. So, you know, and like I said, you can actually see that clock right there. And that's actually a good alarm system for me, because if I don't wake up soon enough, those two weights are pretty much lined up with my eyes perfectly. So, and I hope that screw that's up there is sturdy enough, because if that thing ever came down on me while I was sleeping at night. Anyways, goodbye for now. Au revoir, I think that's how you say it, and I'll talk to you next time. And I hope it's recorded, because if it didn't, I'm going to be pissed.